Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again, and I am here today. What's funny is I was going to review Lightyear because I found Lightyear on YouTube, and I started watching it, and I hated it so much in the first 2 minutes that I just decided, no, I'm not going to torture myself today. I shouldn't have to anyway. And so I decided instead to review a Goosebumps book. And I also decided what I'm going to start doing is Goosebumps books are the lengths of movies, right? And so I'm going to try to read as many as I can on days where I don't review them, but sometimes I'm just going to read them and then review them right afterwards. And I only have like 3 or 4 left that are on like hold, that I've already read like a long time ago. So I've got to start reading more Goosebumps books because I want to continue to have those to do. They're such lifesavers, when I don't have a video that I have planned and I can just do a Goosebumps book review. And I'm pissed off, honestly. I'm really, really pissed off. Because I am here today to review Werewolf Skin. And I know you might be saying, well, Marco, why are you pissed off? Werewolf Skin is awesome. I'm really... It's so sad because I really, really liked this book a lot. I was enjoying it. I thought, this is going to be one of the best Goosebumps books, if not the best one. Well, not the best. I mean, I don't think anything is going to be able to beat Camp Jelly Jam. Spoiler alert, I haven't reviewed that yet. I need to also reread it. This book, wow. It had one of the biggest falls in Goosebumps history because it starts off and it's pretty faithful. The episode's pretty faithful to the book, kinda, for like 2/3 of it. But then in the last third of this book, it completely goes off a cliff in a really bad way. And it's all about this kid, and he moves, well, he doesn't move, he vacations to his aunt and uncle, their town. I think they even call it Wolf Creek. And he goes there to stay with them because the parents, of course, are on a business trip in Europe. So, of course, it's another story where a kid has to go to their relative's house and stay there for a little while. And he also meets this girl named Hannah. And no, he does not get with her because for some reason the guys in Goosebumps books, they're all gay. And they just don't want a girlfriend for some reason. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird to me. This is like the millionth book, and you have it's an obvious setup for a relationship, regardless of like if it went anywhere. Like, there's been so many times in the past where I have, for instance, I used to have these summer camps and they would last a week. And they happened when I was like 12, 11, 13, the same age as the kids in these books. And I would always have some sort of a crush and a romantic interest. And, it's just so strange and weird that you have these male characters in these books and they're so gay that, like, they never have any interest in women. It's the weirdest shit ever. And I'm sorry, but it's weird. It's like, it's just so weird. Like, they're going out in the middle of the night together, running around the forest together. I mean, it's just, what the fuck? Like, it just come on, R.L. Stine. Like, are you... And so that's one issue. But I will say, in the episode, it's worse. Like, in the episode, it's so frustrating that it's irritating, because you can visibly, they have chemistry together. They should be boyfriend and girlfriend. It's simple. It's not even hard to make that conclusion. Like, if you just took everything out of context and watched those two in the episode, you'd think, oh, they must be boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh no, of course not. And so he meets this girl named Hannah, and that's that. And then there's this house next door called, it's the Marlings house, and it's this really creepy old house, and it looks kind of like the house that I live in a little bit. Or actually, there used to be a house next to mine, and it looked exactly like this house. And eventually, the firefighters, they actually used the house for like an experimental burning, where all these firefighters from all over the country came over, and they watched them burn down this house. And then I also had a girlfriend in second grade, and her house looked a lot like the house in this book. So it's a very typical, like, small town, creepy house, old house, and they keep on telling him, aunt and uncle, they keep on telling him, don't go near the house. And then at the same time, there's these rumors about werewolves being around, and, you know, because it's Wolf Creek, there's werewolves. There are these night creatures who kill animals of all kinds. And they don't want him going out at night. And the aunt and uncle, they're these quote-unquote nighttime photographers where they take pictures of quote-unquote night creatures. Now, first off, this book is blatantly obvious. It all points in the book, there's no question whether or not the aunt and uncle are werewolves. And that's another sad departure from the episode, because in the episode, they trick you quite a few times, and they make you think, there are these two kids in school, are they the werewolves? They're pretty creepy in the episode. Is the teacher at the school a werewolf? Like, anyone could have been a werewolf in the episode, and that's what made it so scary. It was the fact that it really was like this Wolf Creek town where it's like anyone could have been a werewolf. But in the book, it's pretty clear that, you know, he thinks the Marlings are the werewolves. The Marlings are the werewolves, you know, two people. And then at one point there's this explanation where the aunt and uncle say that it's actually two dogs running around, the two German shepherds. Pretty stupid explanation with that. Some really weird stuff in this book. It's so much better done in the episode. However, it's enjoyable. I was having such a good time reading this book. It was such an enjoyable experience compared to, like, Lightyear and all that type of stuff. It was a fun read. And then it gets to the last third. That's where it really shits the bed. They have a portion of the book where, and now let's talk about this too, the aunt and uncle, they're savage. Like, they're really savage. Like, they are so savage at like making this kid believe that the Marlings are actually real, that when he wakes up in the morning after he snuck out at night, and he was out too late at night, and he was running around looking for his camera, which that was a pretty good sequence. But I will say, that was like the majority of the book. Like, that was 30% of this book was him running around at night to look for his camera. And it was so much scarier in the episode. Like, the episode is genuinely scary in comparison to this book. But after this night of going out into the woods, oh yeah, and we'll talk about Hannah, don't worry. I have some stuff to say about Hannah as well, because her story is handled so much worse than the episode. It's not even funny. But after this night of sneaking around, he goes downstairs, and his aunt, his aunt is literally on the phone having a fake conversation with the Marlings, pretending like that there's actually, the Marlings have called and they're very upset. And then the uncle is giving his nephew the cold shoulder. Like, it's really, really disturbing how savage his aunt and uncle are. And and you can't blame them. Like, they don't want to eat their nephew. Like, is that so hard to understand? It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that, like, oh, we're werewolves, we don't want him to know that, we don't. It's the fact that they don't want their nephew to go in the woods so that they'll kill him. Like, isn't that a good thing? Like, isn't that actually, like, aren't they actually really good and responsible relatives who don't want to hurt their nephew? Like, seriously. And then later on in the book, they go so far as to say that their nephew, I can't even remember the main character's name, by the way. Oh, Alex? Is it Alex? I don't know. They tell Alex that the Marlings have called the police. Like, they're just so savage. They'll make up anything. Like, I am convinced that they were willing to get to the point where the dad would leave for the day to go shopping, quote unquote, and then, like, there'd be like a scary figure at the door who's like dressed up as a Marling guy next door, and he's like yelling at the aunt and everything, and it would be like the uncle dressed up as a Marling and pretending to be yelling at the aunt and saying, "Why is your son guy next door?" Like, I'm surprised that they didn't do that type of shit, because they were willing to go to these extreme levels. And in the episode, they're just like, F it. They just lock him in right away. They don't even do that type of thing. They don't even try to do that in the episode. And then let's get to Hannah. Because Hannah, her story was so obvious as well that she was a werewolf that it really wasn't interesting with her. Her story in the episode is so much better, because she's also somebody who's very concerned for Alex, and she doesn't want him to get hurt. And in the episode, she seemed like she is a really good love interest for him as well. Like, she was a very nice person, and she wanted to keep him safe from her as well. But in the book, they have this queer thing where the teacher is like, lycanthropy is the study of werewolves. Girls can be werewolves too. Wink, wink. And it's not like an agenda or anything, but it's the fact that moment, that was a complete clue. It's just like in those books where the piano lessons can be murder, Shocker on Shock Street. Any book where there's like robots, they'll always say that he uses the same line over and over again. Excuse me, sorry. He'll say that that person is a genius. He can build anything. Wink, wink. And that's a wink, wink, nod, nod, that the main character is actually a robot. Or he is a robot. Or someone else is a robot. That's just a complete tell. And in this book, the tell is the teacher saying, girls can be werewolves too. Wink, wink. They don't do that in the episode, that's for sure. They're not stupid to say that in the episode. And then you have the story with the two guys in school. It was so frustrating how these stories that were so brilliantly done in the episode were executed so poorly in the book. And I realized the episode came out after the book. Well, see how much they improved on the book is my point. Like, they really improved on it. The episode is an A plus. Like, the episode is so good, it could genuinely be a horror movie if they added on some stuff, extra stuff to make it like 30 or 40 minutes longer. Like, it could be an A plus horror movie. And then there's this other part in the book where Alex gets back from the woods at night, and all of a sudden he hears stuff in his attic, in the attic, and then he hears, and it's Hannah, and it's like, what's she doing up there? Like, it's just this neighbor girl, Hannah, is just randomly in their attic. Like, that was a tell right there. Like, we all know what she's doing up there. It's like this, like, what the hell? Like, if you came home and you just heard something in the attic, and then some girl that you know next door, she's like, oh, hey, I'm up here in the attic, and I'm changing my clothes. And she said that the aunt gave her some clothes to wear for a costume, and so she's changing in the attic, and it is so stupid. And you had the Alex is so dumb in this book. He is mind-numbingly stupid in comparison to the episode where he's like Rambo, essentially, where he like makes a trap for the werewolf. He sets up a situation where he'll get some werewolf pictures in his room. Like, Alex in the episode is awesome. Alex in the book is another idiot. Okay? Another idiotic character. And if you're wondering, why costume? Well, that Halloween comes up in this book, which is essentially a parallel to how in this place, in order to be a werewolf, you can't just transform. You put on a werewolf skin like a Halloween costume. And so the act of like putting on costumes and becoming a different character, that's sort of a parallel to werewolves in the story. But it's pretty stupid what ends up happening, because he figures it out, and there's not even any suspense, by the way. Like, remember The Girl Who Cried Monster, where you had this genuinely suspenseful, scary, intense stuff in the book, where the librarian knew that she knew. And that brilliant part where her mom makes her go to the library, and she's just waiting in this long line, and there's like all these people, and then at the very end of the line, the librarian goes and locks the door. Like, just that was so scary. And in comparison, in this book with the aunt and uncle, all you get is they have breakfast together, and then the uncle has him do yard work with him. Like, that's all that we get. It's not scary at all. Like, he takes him out to the backyard, and you think, like, uh-oh, is he going to give him a spanking or something? Like, is he going to give him a whipping in the woodshed or something? No, he's not. He's like, Alex, we've got some yard work to do. Here's the weed whacker. Like, it's just so stupid. And there's no suspense or tension or anything. And so then he tells Hannah that the Marlings are not real, and then Hannah says something about like, well, we could burn the werewolf skins, but that might kill your aunt and uncle. How about we wear the werewolf skins on Halloween night? And then if they don't wear them for a full moon, full night, then they'll be human again. I don't know how that makes any sense at all, by the way. If anything, I would think that would kill them. And then burning the skins would actually help them turn human again. So that didn't make any sense either. And you had this thing where, okay, she's gonna wear the werewolf skin. And by the way, what kind of an idiot would actually pick up a werewolf skin and wear it? And how is it that this werewolf skin that is supposed to fit a 40-year-old man and his uncle, how is that same werewolf skin able to fit snug? Alex said the skin was tight. He said the skin was tight when he put it on. How in the hell did that skin fit him so perfectly when it's his uncle's skin? Like, how does that make any sense either? So that was kind of like a big F-U. And so he goes to the house, and of course she already has it on, because we know after the whole night is over, she's gonna say, I was never wearing your aunt's skin. This is my werewolf skin. And of course that is what they do. It's really stupid and dumb. And it's just like, it's so dumb. And so then they wear these skins, and he says, it's really tight and hot and uncomfortable, even though it's made for my 40-year-old uncle, who's taller, heavier than me, thicker, you know, like, especially if you look at the episode. Like, just look at the uncle and look at his nephew in the episode and tell me that they'd be able to wear the same clothing sizes. Like, that's just fucking retarded. So then Alex and Hannah are running around the neighborhood, and all of a sudden, the aunt and you think this is going to be an intense, scary showdown. But at this point, the book only has 5 minutes left. That's the other disappointing part, is it's very, very rushed. In the episode, it's so much better in terms of pacing. But then the aunt and uncle appear out of nowhere and start chasing around Alex and Hannah for the werewolf skins, and they're like, give us back our skins. Give us back our skins. And that's supposed to be scary. But the funny thing is that after this night is over, these plot holes are ridiculous. After the night is over, there is a third skin that's in the house, because Hannah didn't need a skin. So therefore, the aunt and uncle would have gone to the Marlings' house, and one of them would have had a skin to wear. And how did they know which is which, too? How did Hannah and Alex, how did Alex not see the other skin? And how did Alex just so happen to figure out that that's the uncle's skin that he needs to put on? It makes no sense. So then they chase them around the whole night. It's not intense at all because it lasts for like 2 fucking minutes. I listened to this audiobook. It lasts the equivalent of 2 full minutes. And then at the end of the night, the aunt and uncle, they're crying. They get on their knees and they say, oh, thank you, Alex and Hannah. You guys did a very brave thing. And now we're going to make you some donuts and hot chocolate and shit. And it's like, well, wait a second. So they didn't need to wear the skins at all? They could have just hid the skins? Or like in the episode, they could have just buried the skins? Because if the aunt isn't a werewolf anymore either, then that means that all they had to do was literally hide the werewolf skins somewhere where the parents couldn't find them. And like, what were the parents gonna do? Were the parents gonna break into someone else's house and like rummage around for werewolf skins? No, because the police would have locked their asses up and they would have been turned human anyway. In fact, that would have actually been smarter. Like, remember the Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr., he locks himself up a million times? They could have hid the skin in Hannah's house, in her bedroom, in the panty drawer. And then, if you have this 40-year-old man and woman going into Hannah's panty drawer, then they would have gotten fucking arrested and locked up in prison. And they wouldn't have been werewolves anymore. They would have been something much scarier. Sex offenders. So you see what I mean by how stupid that is? About how, like, and so then they go, finally, they go to the Marlings' house, they go inside, and Hannah says, I've been a werewolf already, and I never wore the aunt's werewolf skin, and Alex has already taken his werewolf skin off. And then Hannah bites him in the chest, and that's when the book ends. So she turns him into a werewolf. It's not surprising, honestly. I mean, you have a kid who's so stupid. He's willing to put on a werewolf skin so that he can go out and be a werewolf himself. Like, what an idiot. And so that skin, that's his now. That's his. He's got a werewolf skin. I give this book a C-. This book was going to be an A-, but the last act got so bad and so stupid and rushed that it went all the way down to a C-, which is pretty unfortunate because you have a C- episode and an A+ book. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought about the book, because I genuinely, these are some real issues. Like, these are some genuine plot holes that I don't think anyone's ever talked about before. But they're a problem. So, anyways, goodbye everybody. See you soon.